you it on Sunday, and even though the Ravens are headed to Foxborough and good tidings and all that good stuff, the Reds have come to life over the weekend. Ed Frankovic was down at the phone booth on Sunday night where I was slated to be there. I couldn't have been more of a good luck charm than what you were on Sunday night. Caps beat up on the Vancouver Canucks. Pretty good hockey team as well. 3-0 victory for the Caps, a shutout, and as much as we've bitched about them earlier in the season, they're rounding into shape, much like the Ravens are headed to New England, right?
Yeah, they've put two really good efforts together over the weekend. Friday in Buffalo, really solid, hard-working effort on the road, just a textbook road win, and Sunday evening at the phone booth, just a really strong defensive effort, and only gave up 20 shots on net, and Brayton Holtby had a fairly easy shutout.
Well, it's a bumpy road here, right? Like, they're into this thing where they're playing every other day. You get good teams, you get bad teams, you get rested teams, you get fatigued teams. And certainly teams like Vancouver that travel from the other side of East Bejesus to come east, it's always going to be a rocky road, much like when the Capitals do their one trip up through the Canadian Rockies. A lot of these teams do a lot more traveling than the Caps do, especially being in this corridor. They looked a little listless on Sunday night, and it was a weird start time. Everything about it was weird, right? Even the energy in the building was a little pre-season-ish, right?
Yeah, it was kind of dead in there, and they were trying some big Star Wars theme going through the game. I'm not a huge Star Wars guy, but certainly didn't get the fans into it. And you make a great point about fatigue. Canucks were coming in with their third game in 4 nights. They had lost Ryan Miller to an injury, their number one goalie on Friday. But the goalie, Jacob Markstrom, played very well on Sunday. But Coach Trotz made a very good point. He says there's so much parity in the league right now. And we can talk about the standings in a few minutes. But he says there's so much parity in the league, and you and I have mentioned this, that sometimes the schedule can help decide it. And I agreed, but you also have to take advantage of that. Back on December 1st, the Islanders came in here on the third game in 4 nights, and the Capitals didn't take advantage and really had an ugly loss to the Islanders in their division. That wasn't the case on Sunday. The Capitals came to play, and they really dominated. If it wasn't for Markstrom and a bunch of overpass him missing the net, it would have been bigger than 3-0.
Well, you talk about bad teams. I mean, I remember when you went to Buffalo and they were 5-23, right? I mean, same thing with the Islanders. Same thing with the Maple Leafs, where they visited 2 weeks ago. They're going to see the Lightning before the week's over. The worst teams in the division now are 500. There's no more dregs. And the best teams, the Canadians, the Rangers, the Penguins, you're going to see those teams, but they're not so overwhelming, maybe like the Caps were this time last year, where they were clearly better than everyone else. There's not a lot of that going on. The parity is the story in the NHL as we enter the holidays, right?
Yeah, your good buddy, Coach Trotz, again, after the game, he was talking about, he looked at the schedule and the games on Saturday night, and he said, well, I think this team will beat that team, and this team will beat that team, and he goes, I got 50% of them wrong. There's no bad teams in the league anymore. So you have to show up and do your work. And you take a look at the Metropolitan Division right now, you've got 5 teams within 2 points. You've got the Penguins, Flyers, and Rangers. The Flyers have won 9 in a row at 39 points. And the Blue Jackets, who seem like they haven't lost them forever, sitting at 38. The Capitals move into 37. They have some games in hand on some of those teams except for Columbus. So,
hey, by the way, the Blue Jackets have the least amount of losses in the National Hockey League. That's an amazing. They've only lost 5 times on 60-minute ice, right? I mean, that's kind of incredible. It's Christmas time.
Yeah, Tortorella's done a great job. As bad as he was with the World Cup team for USA, he's been great with that club. Bobrovsky and Net's certainly been a huge story, and I think they're flying a little under the radar. We'll see what happens after January 1 when teams wake up and say, hey, this isn't the doormat Blue Jackets we played last year. So we'll see how they do when teams start really taking notice of them. But the Penguins, the Rangers, everybody knew they were going to be good. Everyone knows the Caps are going to be good. Caps seem to get a lot of teams' best games. That wasn't the case on Sunday because Vancouver was very tired. But still got to go out and play. And Alex Ovechkin, who hadn't scored in, I think, seven games, finally had a big goal, a power play goal early in the game, and then made a good play on the boards, and then a nice assist on the second goal. So Obi actually played really well on Friday in Buffalo, 6 shots on net, and didn't score. So he was due, if he kept that kind of effort up, and I wrote this at WNST.net following that win in Buffalo, you keep that up, the goals and points will come, and sure enough, Sunday he gets 2 points.
3-0 win on Sunday over the Canucks, a 4-1 victory over the Sabres as it sort of got away as well, and impressive hockey being played. Now they go on the road now. Islanders on Tuesday night, so gives me something to watch after I get back from Foxborough, and I'm trying to get rested up for the weekend. And then on Friday, they wind up in Carolina taking on the Hurricanes. I'm hoping to join you down at the gym on Saturday for the Canadians, but busy week and a busy road week as they head to New York and head to Brooklyn as well as down to Raleigh.
Yeah, a very tough week. All three of these teams are going well. I mean, the Islanders have been winning a lot of games, and then they ran into a buzzsaw in Columbus on Friday night, lost 6-2. And the Capitals will be out for a little bit of revenge after losing 3-0 on December 1st at the Verizon Center to the Islanders. And then Carolina, the night we had the big celebration for the man who saved your wife's life, they ran the Caps out of the building that night 5-1. So the Caps are going down there to Raleigh again. They're going to be looking for some revenge. I believe the Caps have a big team building event in New York this week, so they're going to be staying up there and near the Garden, but they'll be playing the Islanders on Tuesday and doing something in New York on Wednesday, and then heading to Carolina for a big one Friday, and then we get Carey Price and the Canadians on Hockey Night in Canada on Saturday. Should be great.
Well, it's going to be a huge week around here. Some thoughts about the middle of the roster that, Trotz had talked so much about. Kuznetsov, Burakovsky, things happening. I mean, even Wilson getting an empty netter. In general, the guys are getting better at the bottom of the roster now, and that was so much of what Trotz talked about, is where else is it going to come from when it's not coming from Ovechkin or Backstrom?
Right, yeah. I think Kuznetsov's definitely upped his game. I mean, Trotz made some switches in the lines, and you're always going to see that. And he gave special credit to Backstrom, Johansson, and Oshie on Sunday night for the job they did on the Sedins, some of the most talented players in the league.
Well, getting Oshie back is huge, too, right? Getting Niskanen back, too. There was some great concern about both of those cats all week long, right?
Yeah, they're two of the hardest working guys on the team. I mean, I love TJ Oshie. They need to lock this guy up long term because he's just dynamite. He's so good on the wall. He's a great skater, offense, both ends of the rink. He's a guy they need to lock up.
Boy, he has fit in so well. When you talk about why they were so good last year, he was a huge, huge part of that, really. I mean, adding him added something, and when you take him away, as we saw last week, it takes away something.
Yeah, they were a 500 hockey team with him out of the lineup, so that's how much he means to him. You and I can't say enough good things about that guy. And Justin Williams finally had a good game. He's been getting a lot of chances, and Williams has 3 goals in the last few games. He's playing with Ovechkin and Kuznetsov, and the thing about Williams, he's got some of that Oshie quality where you get on the boards and he's going to come out of there with the puck. He's just right in there. He's just a solid guy with his stick. He's not as good as Oshie, but he's not far from him when it comes to those wall battles, and that's really stabilized Kuznetsov and Ovechkin. Now, when you get to that next line, they've had Vrana up from Hershey. Jacob Vrana scored his first goal of his NHL career on Friday night, and he's playing with Burakovsky and Eller. And Eller's starting to come to life a little bit. He's been really good on the penalty kill, but Vrana has got a shot. He's added some life to that line. He had a couple great chances on Sunday, missed them. Burakovsky, the thing about him lately is he's been really good the first 2 periods, doing his job, and then the third period, he seems to fall off, and he took a bad penalty on Sunday night, and I don't think Coach Trotz is very happy with him right now. He got the lowest amount of ice time. He's a guy that needs to step up. And then you go to that fourth line with Beagle, Winnick, and Wilson, and they are just working their tails off. They're winning the battles. Wilson's been outstanding on the penalty kill. The Canucks had 5 power plays, 10 minutes of power play time.
One shot.
On Sunday. One shot. One shot on that, Nestor.
Hey, it was
really deserved that empty net goal. He earned it.
It's nice when the team's coming a little tired. You can feel good about yourself, especially getting off onto the road. And it's not easy right now. If you look at the standings, you can see the bunching going on. And we'll see how the Caps do on the road. New York on Tuesday, taking on the Isle. Friday in Carolina. And then Saturday night at home against Carey Price. And the Montreal Canadiens, I'm hoping to come down there and make a big night of it on Saturday night as we get ready for the Eagles coming in on Sunday. Eddie, anything you want to say about the Ravens as they head to Foxborough this evening?
Well, let's just hope the good health continues. I think the Ravens are 1-7 lifetime.
Something like that, yeah.
In the regular season, something crazy.
Yeah.
So maybe the wheel will finally land on our color on Monday night.
Hope the color is purple or red in this case. Ed Frankovic can be reached at Ed Frankovic on Twitter, as well as Ed at WNST.net. Plenty of football ahead. We're going to get a little hockey in while the Caps are going well. It's always great to follow Ed, our Caps historian. Anything you missed, you can find in the Buy a Toyota Audio Vault 24 hours a day from anywhere in the world on your mobile device by downloading the TuneIn Radio app. We'll be up late into the night in Foxborough, streaming live on Facebook Live and tweeting our little hearts out. We'll also be at Buffalo Wild Wings in Owings Mills all evening long. Pete will be there with the best seat in the house and giving you the limo provided by fully loaded limo transportation, as well as the Blazing Wing Eating Challenge at halftime. That's all at Buffalo Wild Wings in Owings Mills. I'm Nestor. Nasty at WNST.net reaches me. We are WNST.net, AM 1570, and WNST Towson, Baltimore. And we never stop talking Baltimore sports.